What's up, guys? Happy Monday. So I'm here with a student and friend of mine, Nick Ruotolo, and today we're going to be coming at you with a breakdown of the many and plethora of matches that happened this past weekend. First match I want to break down is what many are arguably calling the most exciting match of the weekend, if not the last decade of Jiu-Jitsu, and that was Andrew Tackett versus Kade Ruotolo. And it happened obviously at the CJI Invitational, Craig Jones Invitational, which let me comment on that for a quick second. I had a lot of people asking me, like, what do you think about it? Personally, obviously, like the tournament had a ton of star power, right? In my mind, the biggest enigma for me was going to be the rule set. How was the rule set going to play out, right? We had seen other promotions in the past do a rule set where they broke up into different rounds and not been that successful with it, right? So, for example, I think Submission Underground, if I'm not mistaken, I think if I remember correctly, that was run by Chael Sonnen. And, it was something that if you did jiu-jitsu, you knew about it, but it wasn't something that, completely blew up, all right? So that was my biggest question with CJI, was how was the rule set, right? Specifically the breaking up the matches into different rounds going to work out for a jiu-jitsu match, right? Because a lot of times we think about jiu-jitsu, we think about, in order to work to a submission, which is like the most exciting part of the sport, you need time to work towards that submission. So with that in mind, I thought that was going to be the biggest enigma, right? The biggest question. But as we saw this past weekend, I think it's safe to say, I think the rule set, even the timed rounds, actually worked out really well, right? The 3 5-minute rounds and the 5 5-minute rounds for the final. I don't think the breaking up the match into the 5-minute rounds was much of it wasn't a problem really for the excitement factor. And we saw plenty of submissions. We saw a lot of excitement, and I thought it was really cool, especially in between rounds when you had the judges declaring which athlete they thought won the round. I thought that was very creative as well. So I thought it was overall very well done, very well produced, and yeah, personally, that was my biggest question, and it turned out to be great. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, no, I thought it was very good, very exciting. I think they probably might have to look at the rule set or judging criteria maybe slightly more.
Okay.
Just because of how some of those matches went with Levi.
Okay.
That was a question a lot of people were asking.
Okay, cool. We'll keep that in mind. But in either case, let's get down to the nitty-gritty about jiu-jitsu. Let's get down to some of the tactics and some of the techniques that we saw. Right now, I want to break down the match, Andrew Tackett and Kade Ruotolo. Now, if I was to do an entire breakdown video on the entirety of the match, I don't think I'd be able to do that in under 2 hours. There was so much that happened in that match, okay? And so much I could touch on. There's so many good moments. And if you have any moments in that match that you would want to break down on, make sure to comment below and let me know which one those are. But the one we're going to hone in on today, or right now, is going to be the one where Andrew Tackett took Kade Ruotolo's back. And this happened earlier in the first round, and we're going to look at how Andrew Tackett did that, okay? Now, before we go into actual sequence itself, let's look at exactly what was the move that Andrew Tackett hit to take Ruotolo's back, okay? Or basically, what's the move in its essence, okay? And that was a throw-by. It was a variation of a throw-by. Now, typically, when throw-bys are done, you want less contact from your opponent, right? Optimally speaking, the less contact from your opponent as you're entering the throw-by, the easier it is, okay? The underhook throw-by, all right? So say, for example, if I'm here in front of Nick, I enter the underhook. As I'm entering the underhook, I'm already touching and I'm already throwing by, okay? One more time. I'm here with Nick. As I enter the underhook, I'm already touching and I'm already throwing by. And in reality, those are the throw-bys that will incorporate the least amount of resistance, right? Your opponent's not ready. He's not set. There's no isometric tension. And then from there, you'll be able to, as soon as you touch him, throw him by, all right? Now, while that is the case, that can be one of the best ways for a person to hit a throw-by, it is certainly not the only way to hit a throw-by. And we saw Andrew Tackett this weekend hit a beautiful throw-by from a position where in theory, the throw by should be much harder to hit from there. Why is that? So Andrew and Kade, they got into a body lock versus whizzer, underhook versus whizzer situation. And Andrew was getting to his body lock a lot, okay? Now, let's take a moment to understand that in this position where there's a set underhook, there's a set whizzer, in theory, the throw by should be much harder from this position, okay? Because both athletes, especially the whizzer athlete, right? Because I'm the underhook athlete, I'm the one with the underhook, I'm the one that wants to do the throw by. The whizzer athlete has had time to set a strong whizzer. And if there's one thing we know about Kade Ruotolo is Kade Ruotolo has a strong whizzer, okay? Arguably one of the best whizzers we've seen in the sport of jiu-jitsu, okay? However, Andrew was able to capitalize with the throw by off a very specific type of throw by, okay? And I don't know the specific name of this throw by, but basically it was a palm to face throw by. Where from here, as they're in the position, first off, they're both jousting, so both of their hips are into each other, okay? Now, from here, it's a throw by where my palm comes up to my opponent's face, okay? So from here, my palm travels all the way up to the side of my opponent's face. And now that my palm is on the side of my opponent's face, what that does is it takes your opponent's elbow and it makes your opponent's elbow higher. Let's understand something about the whizzer. A whizzer with a low elbow tends to be much stronger. There's more bite in that whizzer, okay? So Nick's right here. If he was to, there's an imaginary underhook here. The more Nick bites down with that elbow, the stronger the whizzer is. But if Nick, on the other hand, starts to lift his elbow up, the whizzer in theory starts to become a bit weaker. Okay, so once again, and I apologize about the angles here. We have no cameraman, so we're just working off the screen and the camera. So from here, if Nick bites down hard with his elbow, the whizzer is much more solid. Okay, it's a stronger whizzer. The closer our elbows come to our body, the stronger our arm tends to be. But as his elbow travels up and away, the more compromised his arm position is, okay? And that's what this underhook palm to face variation does, right? When I take my palm to Nick's face, look what happens to his elbow. His elbow travels up. And as his elbow travels up, his whizzer becomes weaker. And as his whizzer becomes weaker, the throw by becomes more possible, okay? So it's a very clever and smart use of the throw by on Andrew Tackett's part, okay? So once again, let's look at this from a different angle, this backside angle. So we're here. So right now you can see Nick has a very strong whizzer set in place. Right now we're both going to hip joust with each other. From here, I'm going to take my palm to the front of Nick's face. So I take my palm to the front of Nick's face. And as I do that, look at Nick's elbow. See how his elbow travels up? Now as I take my palm to the front of his face, now I throw my body weight forward, and that causes the whizzer to get thrown by, all right? So that's the technique that was done. Now, how it was actually hit in the match is another issue entirely that we're going to go into right now, okay? Because there's a very specific sequence that led up to Andrew hitting that throw by on Kade, okay? Here's what happened. Kade and Andrew got into a situation where they were both hip-to-hip jousting. Andrew had the body lock, and Kade had his whizzer, okay? Now, from here, they were both doing an excellent job going back and forth, jousting for hip position, all right? Andrew got front hip position on Kade and actually managed to get a strong forward attempt on a throw with a ukigoshi on Kade, okay? However, the one thing that stopped Kade from getting taken down was the alley, okay? Was the wall, the slanted wall that was there, okay? All right, guys, so I changed the angle a little bit because the use of the wall, the use of the alley was very specific that led up to that sequence of Andrew Tackett taking Kade's back, okay? So the takedown that Andrew Tackett tried to go for is called ukigoshi, or half hip throw, okay? Where from here, off the body lock situation, we step in front of our opponent, and now off that step, I bump and turn. And off that step, bump and turn, you take your opponent down. So let's look at it one more time. It's a lot like an ogoshi, that is a large hip throw, okay? Except you cover half of your opponent's hip. So we're here. We're both in stance. Get in stance. Good. Like pressure your hip into me. There you go. Beautiful. Now off of that, I step in front of Nick. I cover half his hip. And now off of that half hip coverage, I bump my hip into his. And I take him off balance. And then from there, he goes down. There's also many variations of ukigoshi that include a ken-ken ukigoshi, where I walk my opponent down progressively, but that's not the point of this video. However, what happened, the reason I think Andrew wasn't able to take Kade down with the ukigoshi was because the alley was right there. So this is what actually happened in the match. They were side by side. When Andrew went for the ukigoshi, Kade posted on the wall or on the alley. And off of that alley and wall post, it gave him momentum to swing back around in front of Andrew and threaten a haraigoshi. Okay? So he posted on the wall. Do it again. Posted, swam back in front, and went haraigoshi. Let's try it one more time. He went ukigoshi. He posted, swam back in front. Yes, and went haraigoshi. Beautiful. Now I'm going to cut again and show you guys the full sequence from a more extended angle. Andrew threatens the ukigoshi. Kade manages to swing back around and go haraigoshi. Off the haraigoshi, he doesn't hit it because Andrew manages to give him hips again, okay? Then they start stumbling forward. As they both stumble forward, Kade then goes for a uchimata. Off that uchimata, Andrew throws the hand in front, throws him by, and gets behind him. Let's look at that one more time. So we're back here. From here, Andrew goes for ukigoshi. Tries to hit it. Kade posts off the wall, goes haraigoshi. Andrew hits him with the hips again. They both stumble. He goes for uchimata, and he throws him by. Now, after he threw him by, he did also something super sneaky, okay? Off that throw by, he grabbed the far tricep / bicep. So from here, he grabbed the far tricep / bicep, double covered, so he could get a far hook in. And once he got his far hook in, the rest was history. He was able to take the back. That was super interesting, by the way, okay? Now, let's understand one last thing. The other reason why this was so successful for Andrew was the stance of the opponent. Understand, the more your opponent commits to the uchimata, the more effective this throw by becomes. So watch this. When Nick and I are both in our stance, right? When we're both strong on 2 feet, okay, on 2 feet, good. Hips, give me hips, good. From here, it can be a little challenging for me to hit that throw by, especially if your opponent's very strong, okay? So bring it back in. Stance. Give me hips. Like shuck your hips. Yeah, there you go. And now we're both in a strong position. For me to take the back of my hand all the way, yeah, I can feel it. It's tough. And Nick's smaller than me, okay? Imagine an opponent who's bigger than you, stronger than you, or you're same size and strength. But when Nick goes on one leg, now it's really hard to stop balance on one leg. Good. Now off this one leg, it's a piece of cake for me to get my hand there. Even if he was bigger and stronger than me, I bet you I'd be able to do it, okay? So we're here, put in the whizzer. Again, he's on 2 feet. No, 2 feet. He can hold a strong base. Hips. Give me hips. Hip into me like this. Yeah, there you go. Good. And we're hipping into each other. When I try to go up, it can be tough, especially if he bites down with the whizzer. But the moment he balances on one leg, now that he's on one leg, now it's so much easier for me to hit that throw by, okay? So one more time from the top. Andrew and Kade get into this whizzer / underhook situation. They're both hip jousting. Andrew comes in front, threatens the ukigoshi. Kade comes back, hits haraigoshi. Andrew gives him hips. Then from here, they both stumble forward, stumble. As Kade goes for uchimata, Andrew hits the palm throw by, catches the far tricep, throws in the far hook, and then from there, he takes his back, okay? So that's what happened in the match. Excellent match. So many different moments I could break down from the match. If you guys want to see any other breakdowns of any other matches, I'll be doing other breakdowns of other matches as well, ADCC matches as well. Let me know in the comments below. Even if you want to see other breakdowns of other moments in the Kade Ruotolo versus Andrew Tackett match, also let me know in the comments below. Nick, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
I actually got a cameraman for this last scene. And it's my son Elias. Turn the camera. Good job, Elias. See you guys in the next one.
All right, if you are in the state of Florida, I have a 3-day seminar / camp coming up very soon. I'm going to be in Florida September 6th, 7th, and 8th, and I will be doing a camp / seminar series in Humble Grounds Jiu-Jitsu in Hernando, Florida. I will put the Eventbrite link in the description of this video as well as in the comments. I'm 90% sure that the event might already be sold out because last time I spoke to the gym owner or the person that's setting it up from the gym, my buddy Tom, he said that there's only 8 spots left. So, and that was about maybe a week ago or something. But maybe if you're watching this video, there might be some spots left. If there are, and you're in the Florida area or know somebody in the Florida area, send them this video and tell them to click the link and see if there are any spots left. See you there.